where we're very excited to present to you the kind of toolkit and methodology that we're hoping to use during the aRoundTable event series. Yeah, I know a few people are perhaps still coming in, so maybe we can give it a few more seconds to see if there's others that join. But very excited to have you all be a part of this session. And maybe to kick things off, just wanted to ask how many of you are familiar with the aRoundTable process and have attended a previous webinar or have read about aRoundTable. There's a poll that should pop up. So it would be great to see if you all are familiar or you are new to aRoundTable. Okay, looks like there's a majority of people that are quite new to hearing about aRoundTable. So yeah, we can also share a bit more about aRoundTable and what it is, and we're happy to send you some more information about the previous webinars that we've had and our website as well, so you can learn more. Today we're going to go mostly through the kind of toolkit and process that we're using, rather than sharing more about aRoundTable itself. So we're happy to provide you with more information to read through to learn more about what this initiative is. Great. Well, thank you very much for answering. Yeah, so a lot of newcomers. That's great to see. So maybe we can start off with what is aRoundTable. Let me just present this screen here. So aRoundTable is a global circular economy collaboration initiative. The aim is to kind of bring together communities both locally and globally around a common table to find solutions for post-COVID recovery. The aim is to really try to design and activate lots of community projects to fast track the circular economy transition and really try to build back better from COVID-19, from a lot of the economic effects of the pandemic that have affected many of our communities. And who are we? So the organizers of aRoundTable are part of the Circular Economy Club. So we have members from Circular Economy Club Milan, Circular Economy Club Melbourne, Circular Economy Club Boise. And we also have partnerships with CE Victoria in Australia, as well as the O2 network. And we're also, like you, engineers, designers, researchers, teachers, athletes, parents, activists, creatives, entrepreneurs, and most of all, we're circular economy community leaders. So we really want to try to engage from the bottom up a lot of interest and passion for the circular economy in local communities globally, in order to see how we can start coming together in order to create actionable projects that can take our communities forward. So that's a little bit about aRoundTable itself. You can learn more at www.aroundtable.earth. We'll send you the link and more information at the end of the session as well, and share how you can sign up and get involved. But today we're really going to focus on the kind of tools and methods that we're going to use through the aRoundTable event series. It's essentially going to be a series of virtual events, given the pandemic situation, to explore the potential for the circular economy and circular jobs to help our communities recover from the pandemic. And the event series really tries to use design thinking methods and tools to better understand the linear problems that we're facing, and see how we can effectively design and develop or further enhance existing circular solutions in our communities and in our cities. So you'll see the kind of process overview in this image here. There's kind of 4 phases where we'll kind of really understand the problem, define the problem, make various prototypes and pilots, and then try to release these projects into our communities. And we'll go through each of these phases in this kind of session. So the first kind of main phase is the understand phase, and the aims in this step are really to kind of map the different problems facing communities using sort of a problem tree method, which I'll go into more detail, and to also map existing solutions to tackle these problems. So it'll really give us an understanding of where there are gaps and where there are areas where little progress is being made. And these tools will help us better understand how to create a more holistic overview of the landscape of problems and solutions. So going through the first kind of step, there's this methodology called the problem tree, where you essentially take different problems and work out what are the underlying causes, the contributing causes, the direct causes that lead to that problem. And then what are the kind of symptoms, both direct and high level, that are resulting from these problems. So this step, what we'll do is have all the different communities kind of list various problems that they're facing and explore really what are the roots of the problem and what are the effects of that problem and their consequences. And then once sort of these problem trees have been developed, this first session will also have the various communities try to list the different solutions that are addressing these problems that are already existing in their communities. So this could be existing initiatives, existing products, services, or organizations that are trying to address this issue, and really try to understand what issues really already have a lot of effort taking place and what issues really don't have any solutions or any initiatives currently to try to tackle that part of the problem. So really try to understand the gaps. And essentially with aRoundTable, the way it works is all of this will be done with participants in your local community, so key stakeholders, citizens, companies, businesses, etc. And even though these kind of sessions will take place locally, there's also an element of a global share. So at the end of the understand session and also at the end of every one of the roundtable sessions, teams are encouraged to share their outcomes on this global board. We're going to probably use Miro as a place to store all these different outcomes. And that way, it's possible for local communities to share what they have developed with each other and also learn from each other as well. And organizers and interested participants will also have an opportunity to present these. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, so during this global session, people will really get a chance to contribute to other global research and keep in touch and exchange knowledge in order to see if there's any problems or solutions or opportunities that can be linked across multiple cities or multiple communities. And the idea is really to try to kind of get communities to get engaged and get involved with each other. During the kind of a roundtable process, we'll also provide and build up a sort of open source library of circular economy knowledge. So you can kind of get inspired by solutions from other communities or initiatives that are already existing. So part of this approach is to also kind of develop this open library that everyone can utilize in order to develop solutions for their community. The next kind of key phase is the define phase, and the main aims here are really to try to prioritize the most important problem areas to tackle, especially ones where there's really gaps in existing solutions that need to be addressed, and also to identify who are the key stakeholders that are required to get involved in order to implement solutions for this problem. And as I said, the key outcomes from this step will also be shared on the global exchange board and during a virtual global share session. So there's always going to be global collaboration during each of these steps. And in this step, it's really to kind of take a look at all of the problems and solutions that have been mapped in different communities, and to understand which of those problems will have the most impact with the least amount of effort. So what are the kind of quick wins that can be tackled within these communities in order to really create a lot of positive impact and accelerate circular economy thinking and advance the circular economy transition and reduce some of the impacts that the communities are facing due to the pandemic situation. So this kind of prioritization exercise will help communities really identify where to focus their efforts in order to take the next steps forward. And we'll also do sort of stakeholder mapping in order to see who are the key stakeholders that are impacted by the problem or have a lot of influence and power over the problem and are instrumental to get involved in order to develop solutions. So with this exercise, it'll really help communities understand who are the key stakeholders to target, especially ones with a high level of influence and a high level of interest to address the problem selected. And how can teams connect with these kind of stakeholders and get them involved in order to co-design solutions in the next kind of phase. So the third phase is to really kind of start making different prototypes and co-designing solutions. So the main aims here are to engage these different stakeholders to either enhance existing solutions or develop new ones to specifically address the problems that are selected in the gaps that, that the community decided to focus on. And this phase is also important because it's really sort of iterative, and it's all about creating prototypes and pilots and test projects to see how various solutions work and what is most effective. And really get an understanding of how to create actionable projects to then take forward. So with the solution design, we're thinking about using the kind of circular brainstorming worksheet from the Circular Design Guide developed by IDEO and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation to really kind of work together with these different stakeholders to think about all the different solutions that can be developed for the specific problem that they defined in the last step. And it could be, as I said, ways to enhance existing solutions or develop new ones that specifically address the different gaps. And with this step, it's really about working out in more detail, what is the solution, how does it work, what is the desired impact, who is it for, et cetera. And it's also possible to think about, for example, how to use existing solutions or parts of existing solutions. It could be that a key gap or a key problem can be addressed by bringing together multiple aspects in a new or novel way. So those are some of the things that teams will try to explore in order to see how to create more effective solutions for their communities. And with this step as well, it's really important to create sort of a plan for developing prototypes and really testing this process. So this step, teams that participate in the roundtable will also create sort of a prototyping plan in order to see what is the solution that they're testing, what do they want to learn from prototypes that they develop, how are they going to test it, and how can they gather their feedback in order to really iterate and refine their solutions to make it more effective for the communities that they're working with. And the last kind of step is the release phase. And the main aim here is to really identify what are the key resources required to scale this prototype or pilot project that we've developed in our communities and expand its development to really address the problems that it's aimed to tackle and that were defined. And with the step, it's to really also develop an implementation plan to identify the various activities, the timing, the funding and resource needs, the roles of the various stakeholders involved, and the different kind of impacts that it'll create in the different local communities and cities. And of course, as I mentioned before, throughout all this, there'll be the opportunity to work across communities globally. So to really share ideas and feedback and get input from each other so that there's a global exchange happening as well. And opportunities to kind of combine efforts potentially and work across multiple communities. So with this release phase, it's really about creating a scalability plan, and we'll be using Design Kit's Explore Scalability worksheet to really identify how well the solutions are achieving desired results, and how can they be scaled in a faster way. So looking at their impact, their desirability, their feasibility, the viability, et cetera, and what are the conditions required in order to take the solutions from a kind of pilot phase to the next step. And this aspect of the step of the project will also try to see how we can engage with decision makers and policymakers and stakeholders locally to develop really an implementation plan to look at activities, looking at the schedule, the budget required, and the roles of the different people involved in order to really execute this project and really make concrete steps to implement the solution in the local communities in order to create more positive impact using circular economy thinking. And one of the other things that we want to also do is to kind of link the projects and the solutions that are developed to the kind of movement that's happening in a lot of cities to work towards more positive local, social, ecological impact. So there's this sort of movement where a lot of cities are kind of utilizing the donut economics framework to understand how their cities can create positive social and ecological impacts in that kind of donut. So we're going to also try to see how the different projects contribute to these efforts in order to help city administrators and stakeholders align these projects with the sort of ambitions that they have in terms of circular economy strategies or sustainability strategies for their cities, and to really help them understand how these projects could support the city's ambitions to create a positive impact as well, in order to encourage them to support the implementation process of the different projects that are developed. The last thing I want to say is that it's a constantly evolving process. So the kind of methods and tools that we shared with you today is a sort of framework that we've developed in order to see how we can start developing actionable projects using circular economy in different communities. And as we work with the various aRoundTable teams globally, and we go through each of these sessions, we'll constantly be trying to refine and improve this framework, and would love to kind of get ideas from you all, from the community as well, in order to see how we can utilize other tools, other frameworks, other methodologies to really provide continuous support and guidance to everyone involved in order to help really create actionable projects. And that's the main aim, is to really utilize circular economy thinking in a positive way to benefit the different communities around the world. And I also wanted to share with you sort of an overview of the timeline for aRoundTable. We're planning to essentially have one more workshop next month, really on understanding how to recruit various local stakeholders and potentially engage with key decision makers in the city. Next year in January, we'll try to have a another session in order to reconvene anyone who's interested in participating and organizing in a roundtable. And we're really planning to kind of kick off this process with the different sessions in February of next year. So have sort of a session per month from February to May, and really give the opportunity for various projects that come up through the roundtable process to develop further over the summer, and ultimately to sort of share the outcomes and highlight some of the projects that develop during Circular Cities Week 2021 in sort of October of next year. So that's the sort of timeline that we that we have planned for this process. So yeah, if you're interested in organizing or participating, you can go to the website aroundtable.earth. We'd love to see if any of you are interested in sort of facilitating sessions as well, in order to engage with your community and your local network, to get them involved, to walk through this process with them, and also to help us kind of co-design and co-develop this sort of evolving process. Would love to kind of involve as many organizers as possible locally in order to really create a community that can develop actionable projects and activate them as well. Yeah, so you should see a poll, I think, to ask if any of you are interested in becoming an organizer. Great to see that that many of you are. Yeah, so if you're interested, we'll definitely keep in touch with you and add you to our Slack channel, where we're engaged with the different organizers, different cities and communities that are interested in participating in the roundtable. And yeah, we really wanted to thank you for attending this session, and we're really looking forward to working with you all and your local communities to really build back better using circular economy thinking, and utilizing the benefits of the concept to develop some actionable projects for different communities.